went to Asda. I went to shoplifting. I'm a Nigerian soldier, ever eater who stole my visa. T-shirt wearer, supermodel drinker, front the house raver. Pounded down with the okra eater, jollof rice cooker, pop-up tester. I know a couple of juju master, Gigi cruncher, Shaki chewer. I use the bucket and container. Yeah, I know my waves like an African sailor. Wet frame material, call me a tailor. No woman, no crack, she no be whaler. Batman, please don't bust us and later. Yo, cause I used from Ethiopia. Big batty girl with everything and features. Football shanty dance like a Kenya. Make my money cause I'm Nigeria. I went to Lidl, I went to shoplifting Lidl. Then I got caught in Lidl. Now I don't go back to Lidl. One day I went to Asda. I went to shoplifting Asda. Then I got caught in. One day I came to England without a real passport. I got past immigration without getting caught. Now I'm in England. I must go secondary school. I was 19, but I told them I was 14. So I'm in year 9 and I am doing my stats. I love to eat chicken and chips and let's not go on MSN. One day I was in the bath and Oyinbo man came to my door. He said, Olusola, I just said we are immigration. Go back to Lidl.
It's mine now. This is mine. The problem with England is full of the English. This is mine. Lots of people here. They'll work great on my tea plantation. This is mine. It's a nice river you got here. I'm gonna shit in it. This is mine.
These are his.
Pretty nice bridge. It'd be a shame if someone took it. It's mine now. This is mine. This is mine. It's a nice country.
That's good. Hey, oh, what's that? That Dr. Pepper? That's that Dr. Pepper.
I want to teach you some UK slang today, bro. So tell them where you're from first before we get into that.
I'm from Brooklyn, New York.
So when you're that guy, what do you guys say?
You be like, I'm one of them, or I'm a don, you heard? Like,
You're
I'm
a don.
Like, I'm a don, like.
See, in the UK, the way you say that is I'm a nonce.
I'm a nonce.
No. Say I'm a nonce. Like, say it to the camera with chest
like for me, I'm a nonce, you know the vibes. Like, for me, top nonce, nigga, I'm on
yeah,
that.
top nonce.
Yeah.
So the next one, yeah, what would you say, like, if you're really smart, like, you specialize in the books?
We just be like, alright, Einstein, like, okay, Einstein, the fuck, nigga think he's smart and shit, for me.
The way we say in the UK is you say, I'm a young thing specialist, like I specialize in the books, you're a young thing specialist.
So I'm a young thing specialist, so if I'm good in, like, math, so, like, English, I'm a young thing specialist in math, right?
Yeah, young thing specialist.
Young thing specialist. Now, I did got a 90 on my English region, so in English, I'm a young thing specialist. Like,
you're definitely a young thing specialist. I want to teach you some UK slang today, bro. So tell.
Yo, y'all got they in on the Benz like, what's going on? What you telling me? Come on, it's G block up in this bitch. Them godless bomber clats. What they doing around there, man? Oh, man. Yeah, man. We got the people them in the place, man. Slap the like, man. Share the stream, man. Yeah, there you mean? Yeah, shout out Simon Harrison. Walk. All right. Let it play. Alright, listen. Let's run two jokes first, innit? Yeah? Let's run two jokes first. Alright, let it play.
I've done jokes about Christianity, but I can't do jokes about Islam. And the crowd kind of go, can't you? And I go, well, fun fact, I'm not a fucking idiot. So if you're sat there thinking, well, that's not fair, you joke about Christianity all day long, but you won't make the same sort of joke about Muslims. Well, then maybe, as a Christian, you should think about blowing something up. I'm a bit short for time.
Yeah. Hey, don't take Jimmy Carr's advice, though, innit? Yeah? You get to get yourself in trouble real bad. Yeah, man. All right. Yeah, man. So, you know, it's your daily reminder to hit the gym. I can't remember that British channel. This is your daily reminder to hit the gym. And don't be a simp. You know, make sure you hit the gym. All right, let it play. that's how man got the idea for the Cybertruck, yeah? How you mean? Are you that Helan? Elonia? Mad. Trust me, these guys here. Donald Trump's more jealous of Elon than he is of Melania. Mad. She got her baps out all over the Russian TV and that. Alright. So, now we're finished laughing. Yeah? Now we're finished laughing. Let's get back into the serious business, innit? It's time we go serious. Yeah, man. So, you know what I'm saying, yeah? People keep crying when I say this shit, yeah? But I noticed that you, man, don't cry when these man say the same shit. You hear me? Yeah? So let me tell them, or let them tell you the same shit again, innit, yeah?
That they're just racist. I thought I'd spend the week hanging around in Reform UK Facebook groups to see what all the fuss is about. And I've
Alright. So he took a little time to spend in the Reform UK Facebook group. Yeah? Oh my days. Hey, you know what, yeah? I was in the customer's yard, yeah? And the teenage son must have been about 16, 15 or something. Yeah. Between 14 and 16, innit, yeah? And the mum's gone to him. I said, something, oh, my nan keeps sending me stuff for these videos, man. On TikTok and that. Yeah, so he's laughing, he's like, yeah. Then, he's like, send me Facebook videos as well. And his mum went, oh, well, you got Facebook? And she went, nah, man, I'm not old. That's for old people. I was like, in the hallway. Mad. Yeah, but alright, God. Let it play it.
tried to engage some of them in reasonable debate, and they don't care about the truth, they don't care about reason, they don't care about facts.
Aye. That's exactly what I've been saying for time. Yeah, why? Brother. Obviously, you just want to watch them have arguments with lunatics, yeah, I get it, or whatever, innit, yeah? But when you keep having to repeat the same argument, yeah, or the same factual statement or figure, or you need to look at this bit of PDF or this .org website or this .gov website that says blah 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 blah. You know what I mean? Cause like I thought, you know what I thought? Yeah, I thought in this season, yeah, it was gonna get onto the strength of sources, innit? The strength of your source was gonna be tested. Because you see, last season, even though we didn't let Ralph get away with it and we couldn't question him all the time, yeah, it was never like, oh, right, what's the strength of your source? Rah. What's the website? Is it blah blah? Is it .gov? Is it peer reviewed? Is it so and so? I thought it was gonna get onto them sides, you know me, cause, but you know, I saw it go, man.
They just want to be angry about migrants. A man called Paul told me that Labour were planning to prioritise illegal migrants for social housing and bump homeless people down the list. When I told him that wasn't a current Labour policy, and could he possibly point me to the direction of the data that he's using or the source that he had, he told me that he had heard it from the horse's mouth.
Yeah, because his source was trust me, bro. That's why. Yeah. Like, his source was trust me, bro. Someone said it on the thing one. And that was the main point that stuck to him on whatever video he watched someone else say that on. And now he wants to use that as the reason why he don't think that, or he thinks that there's a shortage in housing, innit? But don't worry, man. I'm going to teach you today, innit? Yeah, you're going to learn today, yeah, from the boss, yeah, the boss of everything. You get me? Scholar V. That's what you should start calling me from now on. You get me? Scholar V. You hear me, cuz? How you mean? Oh, mate. Yeah, man, let the pain begin. Yeah, we ain't even started the agony yet, man. How you mean? Let it play.
About the truth, they don't care about reason, they don't care about facts. They just want to be angry about migrants. A man called Paul told me that Labour were planning to prioritise illegal migrants for social housing and bump homeless people down the list. When I told him that wasn't a current Labour policy, and could he possibly point me to the direction of the data that he's using or the source that he had, he told me that he had heard it from the horse's mouth, but he wouldn't tell me what the horse was or who the horse was. Then he tried to distract me by telling me that he was aware of some prosecutions data that showed that prosecutions were massively up because of illegal migrants. I asked him how I could find this data for myself so I could look, because naturally I'm concerned if that's the case. And he told me to get a job in the prosecution service if I wanted to find that out. And when I asked him if he had a job in the prosecution service, he said no, he actually services coffee machines. So
Yo, you say, trust me, the coffee beans got to my man's brain, cause you get me in your brain, in your brain, mad. Anyway, man, carry on, man. Yeah. This is a replay of our old video. We've already played it still, but yeah, man. It's funny still.
When I pushed him for this data that he was in possession of, showing that illegal migrants were driving higher levels of prosecution, he told me that I could do my own research, but don't listen to mainstream media. I did ask him if he thought that it was likely that professional journalists with connections to people in government didn't have access to data, but conspiracy YouTubers did somehow have access to this secret government data. But then he just asked me if I was a Keir Starmer fanboy and kind of dodged the question. But don't worry, a lady
What other people do. I was about to call out some names there, you know. But again, we're moving on with the yeah, but that's exactly what some people do, right? You all lay out a fact or a point to them about the person that they're supporting. They won't reply to that point. They'll go, yeah, but say someone randomly who they might think that you support. Yeah, but this person done that. It's like, but how is that an answer to Donald Trump paying out £5 million to E. Jean Carroll because of the sexual assault, which the judge went in the paper, the New York Times, and described it as great? How does that make a difference to that? It don't. It don't. So yes, that don't matter, innit? Yeah, that point's that point, but you still not answered this point, innit? Yeah.
called Anne came in with the goods. She thought that she would own the libs by sharing an article where a local council had agreed to spend £1.2 million on some housing for Ukrainians and Afghans. When I explained that Ukrainians and Afghans both have been invited country and leaving them to the Taliban, that these people just want to be angry about. If what they're angry about is actually don't even understand the things that they share, They just think the headlines are inflammatory.
My bad. I just got kicked out. I didn't even know what happened, mate. But B26, yeah. Are we into the main? We're into the main agony season now. You get me? All right. Let it play.
You want me to believe that you voted for a racist, rapist, convicted felon, business fraud who incited a deadly attack on our capital after losing the last election because of the price of eggs? That you voted for the orange tip dude who ran with a different VP because the last one was nearly hanged for not breaking democracy because you've been getting fewer hours at your job these days? You want me to believe that you voted for someone who nearly every economist in the world has said will grow our debt, which he did by the third largest amount ever the last time, increase our costs, raise inflation, and destroy our GDP because a burger and fries is more expensive than it used to be? You want me to believe that you voted for the drink bleach guy who golfed while thousands of Americans were dying a day because you had it so much better then, when you were stockpiling toilet paper, than you do now? You want me to believe that you voted for the guy who had 4 years to pass an infrastructure bill and didn't, the guy who said Mexico would pay for the wall when they didn't, the guy who promised to bring manufacturing back, lower the cost of prescription drugs, and end the opioid crisis, but didn't because you preferred his policies? You want me to believe that you voted for the grab him by the pussy guy who wants to destroy the Department of Education and to repeal the ACA despite the fact that he has nothing more than concepts of a plan to replace it. The guy who will roll back environmental protection, strip women and minorities of more rights, the guy who will hand Ukraine to Putin and Gaza to Netanyahu, the guy who has said he will be a dictator on day one because you're worried about losing your gas stove? I'm sorry, but I don't believe any of that. And frankly, I'm not sure you believe it either. Because the truth is that your vote wasn't about any of that. You voted for the traitorous embodiment of the 7 deadly sins because when it came to casting your ballot for a black woman, you just couldn't do it. And because you like getting away with being your worst self. And because life is a whole lot easier to stomach when all that has gone wrong for you is someone else's fault. Let's be honest. That is what it was. So, when the price of eggs is $18 and your Latino neighbors have been deported or moved to some effed up camp to pick the strawberries none of you will pick, and your miscarrying wife has to contend with sepsis before she's allowed to have an abortion, and your autistic child is unable to get the early intervention they desperately need, please remember what it really was that you voted for. Because I promise you, the rest of us will never, ever forget.
That's right. Oh, man. Yeah, man. So, I let this race baiting lady tell you that Donald Trump's racist, yeah? I let this race baiting lady tell you that Donald Trump's a rapist. You get me? Yeah, she's a bad race baiter, she is. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, race baiting all over the town. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, she should go to prison for race baiting. She's race baiting so bad. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, alright. We got more, man. We got more, alright, so we're about to get into the second main event. Or the first main event, sorry. One sec, yeah, so shout out to Leslie Thomas, King's Counsel, KC, you know. If I get locked up like Tommy, yeah, make sure you get Leslie Thomas. Raise the money the same way, yeah, and make sure you get Leslie Thomas to fight my case. You hear me, cuz? Lord have mercy. Yeah, man, so Leslie Thomas done a lecture at Gresham University about wealth inequality, classism, and the turn in the time when the government stopped worrying about if we was housed more than they worried about landlords being able to extort people for rent. Yeah? See, we're gonna see the timeline at when the government, the people that's supposed to be making sure that there's enough places for the residents to live in and for the growing population that they expect to continue with the tax bill for the pensioners, plus the government earnings. I'm saying, yeah, plus the government earnings and all this, that, and the other, and blah, 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 blah. Yes, it's a clip from a long election. The lectures are probably about an hour and a half. So it's a clip from the lecture. Check out Gresham University. Just type in Gresham University, Leslie Thomas, and all the Leslie Thomas Gresham University videos will come up there. You know what? Yeah, they do their lectures for free, right? So people like that, yeah, that's offering you a service where you learn something. They're people worth donating to, innit? Like, so they do have a donation page and all that. So you know, if there was people that you were supporting, or that I would say are worth supporting, it would be that sort of people, right? That sort of person or that sort of platform. Yeah. All right. So you ready now, yeah? All right. Let it play. One sec. All right. Sorry, the reception went a little bit choppy. Hold on a sec, yeah?
Now, while no one would say that council housing in this era was perfect, it was a huge step in the right direction. Housing policy focused on providing decent homes for ordinary people rather than helping landlords get rich. Then, in 1979, Margaret Thatcher's Conservative government came to power. She proceeded to inflict an extraordinary amount of damage on the British housing sector in multiple ways. The Housing Act 1980 introduced the concept of right to buy council houses. Councils were required to sell their stock, to sell homes at a massive discount to tenants who wished to buy them. They did not have a discretion to refuse to sell. Predictably, this led to a depletion of council housing stock. That depletion occurred not just because of the right to buy itself, but because the financial arrangements associated with it, which prevented councils from using the capital receipts to build more council housing. The Communities and Local Government Select Committee explained in 2020, quote, from the outset of the scheme, there was no commitment that homes would be replaced, nor that...
Okay, so you hear that, yeah? So from the outset of the right to buy scheme, there was no commitment for any funds raised that would obviously not be there or whatever. And then also, it was also the time when the powers that be, yeah, the government in charge, yeah, Conservative, old Maggie Thatcher, Iron Lady. You know what's weird, yeah, about the working class gang? That these men are supporting Maggie Thatcher and how much of a great politician she was. Or Maggie wouldn't have this, that, and the other now, yeah. But a lot of the things Maggie Thatcher would be closing down would be stuff to do with working class economies or whatever, making it hard for thingwobble, even the benefits of opening up a right to buy or whatever. Why didn't they use the money that they earned from the right to buy to replenish stock, to build more houses? So in the future, which they don't care about because they're going to be gone, innit, yeah? But they care about that for their families though, because obviously when they're speaking privately or in their own circle, their man talk about planting trees. You get me? And you see how long certain trees have been about for. Trees can be about for like hundreds of years. Yeah, so that's what the planting the tree means. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, drip feeding a resource into some big tree that ends up being able to be a family 6, 7, 800 years. You know what I'm saying? That. So don't let these man finesse you, cuz. Yeah? It's weird, I'll get back here, man. So, 1 sec. You guys is funny still. But yeah, man, so just some something out still. So yeah. Obviously, if you sell out stock, alright, think about this then, yeah. If you got a shop here and you're selling some goods in the shop here, but you never replenish the goods that you're selling in the shop, how long do you think that you'll be able to facilitate your business in your shop? Every other business in the same sort of scenario where you've got a best seller, a good seller, you keep replenishing that, right? You get more of that one, right? Yeah. Not the Iron Lady. She didn't do none of that still, man. So, you know, it's crazy. But God, man, yeah. I remember, yeah. I can have whatever opinion I want, yeah, and it can be wrong, innit, yeah. But the facts and figures ain't. You hear me? So these decisions had already been made or have already been made. You hear me, cuz? Let me stop at the shop. I want to get a drink.
Local authorities would retain all the capital receipts. For the first decade, the government intended that councils could only use 20% of the receipts. Limited restrictions, however, meant that councils were able to spend more than the government intended, leading to stringent controls introduced in April 1990. Section 59 of the Local Government and Housing Act 1989 required local authorities to set aside 75% of the right to buy receipts, which could only be used to reduce debt. From 2004, when the local...
Do you hear that? They was using 75 to set aside 75% of the right to buy receipts and using it for debt, not using it to replenish any stock, not using it to fund any other sort of government policies that's going to lead to less people using government housing or whatever. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, brother. Yeah. And you know what's weird, yeah, as well, is that, like, some of you people in the chat do this weirdo stuff, yeah, where, all right, check it like this, yeah. At the time when people were saying, oh, the foreigners are taking all our houses and rah, 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 none of you ain't talking about, yeah, but what about in 1979, when this legislation come in, when they said that they had to use this percentage of thingamabob and they weren't building no more houses? None of you have said that. Not one time. I've not heard that from any of the naysayers or any of the sort of reform supporting people or whatever that jump in the chat. Like, literally not one time have I heard that. Yeah, never heard that. But now, this is like the third, fourth time I'm probably saying this sort of shit here. Men are talking, oh, well, you just recognize this. Yeah. Hey, you all right, cuz? Yo, we've been talking about this for time still. But,
Local Government Finance Supplementary Credit Approvals Act 1997 came into force, 75% of right to buy receipts went to the Treasury, with 25% available for councils to replace stock or maintain housing.
so they use 75 for that and earmark 25 to replace stock or use for councils. Yeah, we definitely know they didn't replenish any stock in it, yeah, because we can't be going through a housing crisis now where they definitely haven't been building enough houses or caught up on the housing, or now they have an excess of amount of houses they can't even build enough houses fast enough to catch up. So they're gonna have to go through this 4-year to 10-year run of building loads of houses to catch up with the amount of houses that should have already been built. You can already see the problem, right? These are going to be smaller properties, more compact. Look, filling loads of people into smaller spaces. So that's why these new sort of estates are getting built that look like St. George's Wharf. You get, when we like car-free zones in it, like, so loads of people can live there still, right? Oh, yeah.
Maintain the remaining housing. Overall, since 1980, almost 2 million social homes have been sold through the Right to Buy scheme. Over the same period, the total social housing stock has shrunk from 5.5 million to 4 million.
So the housing stock has shrunk. And this is before, remember, yeah, every time we have debates and discussions with any of the right-wing or right-leaning people, because their script tells them that 1997 is the time that there wasn't enough housing or whatever, it doesn't actually work out or correlate with the numbers. I've been saying in this argument, we looked at the chart and it said from the 70s the number of houses needed to be built started going in the opposite direction from the number of houses that people have or needed. So it was going downwards from the 70s. Yeah. And then now Leslie Thomas is breaking it down with the figures and whatever. You can sort of see that men lie, women lie, numbers don't, innit? So it is what it is, cuz.
Another major initiative of the Thatcher government was the deregulation of the private rented sector. The Housing Act 1988.
No, EIE, not in UK, they ain't. Like, the same things that's affecting poor white women, poor black women, it's affecting all the same people, bruv, in these blocks that we live in. You get me? Like, see the childcare thing, yeah? Whatever area you live in, if you live in the hood, if you live in the middle class area, you live in the upper class area, childcare is expensive. Whichever nursery you bring it to, there ain't no free childcare, cuz you get a couple hours. I think there might be how much? I don't know, 20 hours or 10 hours free. And then if you need any extra hours, you have to pay for. And that's all on depending on income based, innit? So if you and your wife earn over a certain amount of income, you ain't getting no free childcare. Yeah. That's it. I don't know about America, innit? Yeah, you're in America, innit? Yeah, America's America, bro. Or whatever, innit? Like, you know what I mean? Like, so some of your arguments like relate to America, some relate to internationally or whatever, innit? Yeah. But that specific argument there of poor people in the UK, you hear me? I lie? That's what, like, when people talk about this latchkey kids, like, India just said, like, some parents are working, or even one parent's working with got their children at home, and the children's got a key to get in and might be there for a little bit, obviously by themselves for a bit longer than they need to be. So this class system thing is real, cuz. It is probably even the same in America, isn't it? Yeah. But America's so divided that, you know, like, it's mad how you guys speak or whatever. You get me? Like, but yeah, UK is different though, cuz, trust me. Like, obviously we face some of the same things with racism or whatever. But I mean, like, in the class system, that's why I always make these arguments of raw. When the man them are making the arguments about the working class issues or whatever, if you go around any working class area in London or whatnot, it's a mixed multitude of people there. There's not just black people in these working class areas, not just white people in there. It's like every race is there. And then what happens is whoever you hear about as the newest set of refugees or migrants that's been allowed into the EU or whatnot, you'll start to see them in those areas, the working class areas. You know what I mean? And then true government dons ain't speaking to demand them about it. So the disenfranchised thing starts to come in place. Trust, because that comes in, yeah. The people outside of this thing that I speak to in real life, man, I'm not speaking race like that person. You get me? Trust me, cuz. Man's out there, cuz. know what? One sec. Just running around the shop. My bad, sorry. I'm just in the shop here. Let me just run this track. Yeah, it's true, tough, man. It's not easy out here, fam. Everyone gets slapped with it out here, cause I disagree. Yeah. Hey, you're not here though, innit? That's
Thank you. Yeah, that's fine. Thank you.
there was 5 million council houses available in the stock, and now there's 4 million houses available. So more than 1 million houses have been lost. But the main thing is that they haven't replenished the stock that they're losing. And it has an effect on everyone, because so now these men can charge you mad people rent. But why? Because there ain't enough places for everyone to even rent that stuff. You hear me? There's someone else there still. If you listen to the start of this lecture, it speaks about the slum housing times, innit? Basically how the upper class have manipulated the poorer class to be able to take the majority of profit out of this. They even set it up so sorry, hold on. Yes, they were speaking about how the creation of workhouses how after World War One, the council started sorting out slum housing, innit? Started what they call it, procuring land, procuring the slum housing, demolishing it, and building housing that people wouldn't mind living in. And the same thing with started to get a little heads up on it. It started to do all right. Then World War II. So World War II started. Obviously the bombings and everything destroyed a lot of housing. So they built more housing. I'm saying the quality could have been better, yeah, but it was still better than the slum housing that the people was living in. Like, so, although it wasn't the best, yeah, he was given the flowers for sorting out housing for people, so people lived in decent accommodation. Saying all that, you know, at the start of the lecture, the creation of the destruction of slum housing and the creation of council housing, how that was created. But then what he showed you was that it was a time that the governments, the ministers, the MPs cared more about the tenants than the landlord. But like the point that he's at now, where it come to the 70s where manufacture took over, they started to care about landlords' profits more than they cared about the tenants. You get me? Oh, man.
Abolished rent control on new private tenancies. From the 15th of January 1989, new private tenancies were either assured or assured short-hold tenancies, and the rents on these tenancies are unregulated. Famously, Section 21 of the 1988 Act, which the government has now pledged to repeal, provides for no-fault evictions of assured short-hold tenancies. Once the initial fixed term has expired, the landlord can recover possession of the property on just 2 months' notice, without having to prove any breach of the tenancy by the tenant. This fundamentally changes the balance of power in the private rented sector, disempowering tenants and empowering landlords. Over the past few decades, it's become immensely profitable to be a landlord. We can see it. We're living that right now. And I'm sure many of you, those of you in the private sector, know just how vulnerable you are at huge rent increases. Unsurprisingly,
yes, again, I'll tell you what hasn't been given as an issue of why the housing stock has decreased and not been replenished. You want to hear it? Yeah. It's not because of illegal immigrants. No, it's not the reason. It's not because of migrants. They're all coming over to take our jobs. Yeah, that wasn't given as a reason. The reason that was given was because they didn't build enough houses, even though they know how much houses they need to build. Yeah. The mindset switched, bro, where their man started caring about profits more than people. So they took away rent control. Now you can charge any rent. No fault evictions. They're trying to get rid of that. They still ain't really got rid of it yet. Even though they said they're trying to get rid of it. It's annoying that most of these issues are caused by the same thing. But they're not the people that ever get their name called in any of these issues. Crazy.
Many former council properties sold under the right to buy scheme have ended up in the private rented sector, a phenomenon that is sometimes called the right to buy to let. With the massive decline in council housing building, the private renter sector has not taken up the slack. Only 174,000 houses were completed in England in the 2022 to 2023 financial year, according to government figures.
Yes, that's conservatives, yeah? Last term. Last season. What's crap bad about this one, though, yeah, is that none of these disgruntled voters ain't even mentioned that. That's not in none of the reforms talk of why you shouldn't be with conservatives no more. It's all about migrants coming over and taking our jobs. Nigel Farage and their man gonna build enough houses for the bandom to live in? I don't know. I don't know. Do they even really care about the working class people like that? I doubt it.
Comparison to the 307,000 in 1969 to 1970 and the 241,000 in 1978 to 1979. None of this has been put right by any of the governments that have since come to power, whether Labour or Conservative. Instead, the problem has been left to get worse year on year. And I'm going to be perfectly clear here. When Labour came to power in 1997 with a huge majority, it should have abolished the right to buy, reinstate rent control, and returned council housing building to its post-war levels. Obviously, it did none of those things. So Blair, as much as Thatcher, is responsible for the parlous state of the British housing market today. Disappointingly, it is clear that if and when he comes to power, Sir Keir Starmer is going to continue the Blair legacy of ignoring this particular problem.
Come on, how you mean? From time we've been telling you, cuz. Yeah, shout out Leslie Thomas KC. You know what I'm saying? Oh, man. Yeah, bro. So, Boy, Labour's got a mad task on their hands still to fulfil this housing shortage. You know? Which mean the KC says it all. What initials have you got after your name? BC. Benefit claimant, man. Behave yourself. Stop it, man. Lunatic. All these people, man. Wild. Right, man.
The scale of homelessness in this country is nothing less than a national scandal, as are the sky-high rents that are causing generational poverty for millions of people.
That's a fact. You know what's mad? Yeah, imagine, this guy is letting you know the reasons why and who to start to hold to account for why there's not enough housing, and all you keep trying to do in the chat is talk about or try to critique points that you haven't even researched yourself. It's mad. It literally don't even make sense. Okay, man. Well, do you think Nigel Farage lives in your world? Of course he don't. You think Rupert Lowe lives in your world? Even Lee Anderson don't live in your world, cuz. You put in like nearly a 400 rack expenses claim last when he was a Conservatives MP. God knows how much his claim's going to be this April. So these people in these positions that are like higher than the positions that we are, that we vote for, or that we elect to take care of the country for the best of our, or for our best interests, should I say. If you need to point fingers or have complaints or speak to, it should definitely be these people. A man's giving you the timeline on how and when there wasn't enough housing built. That's the number one complaint today, man. Overcrowding. People are homeless. People are complaining about the people them staying in the hotels, even though the majority of hotels that the people were staying in are hotels that was probably failing businesses because they wasn't getting enough custom to support their thingamabobs. And now this guy's ended up turning his failing business into nearly a billionaire. Same. It's mad. Crazy cuts. Yeah, man. Co-sign on, collect your tax credits. Yeah. That's going to solve the issue, innit? Let's all just go and sign on and collect tax credits. Yeah. Great job, champ. God damn, man.
In one of the richest countries in the world, there is no excuse for failing to provide adequate housing for all. Employment. Another obvious area where the law affects the balance of power between rich and poor is the law governing employment and trade unions. In the post-war decades, one of the driving forces behind improved conditions for the working classes was the strength of trade unions. When the Attlee government was elected in 1945, its base was the trade union movement. To be sure, there are plenty of good reasons to criticise the Attlee government from the left, but Ian Ferguson, in arguing that the Attlee government, quote, operated very clearly within the framework of capitalism and had no hesitation in putting the needs of capital before that of the working classes, also acknowledges that, quote, the fact that the reforms were introduced.
It's crazy, yeah, how a lot of the things that have helped out the working class community have been demonized as bad for the working class community. It's mad. The government basically definitely should be making sure that there's enough housing being built. Definitely making sure that the essential utilities that we pay for are not being charged at fleecing rates, where these companies that probably ain't even paying tax within the UK are able to charge us extortionate rates and then not pay tax on the profits that they're charging. We don't complain about that though. We're just going to talk about Bradley's a Marxist. Oh, he must be race baiting. Or some other stupid bullshit. You know what I'm saying, man? Crazy, bro.
In Britain under a Labour government, which had been elected with a massive majority on the back of the defeat of fascism, meant that working class people felt a real sense of ownership of these reforms, and that, in a very real sense, the welfare state was a product of the class struggle that changed the balance of class forces in Britain, end of quote. As is well known, however, the Thatcher government waged war on the trade unions, culminating in the infamous repression of the miners' strike of 1984 to 1985. To a significant extent, the Conservative war on the trade unions was waged through the legal system. As Dale Lydon writes, quote, between 1980 and 1993, there were 6 acts of parliament which increasingly restricted unions' ability to undertake lawful industrial action. Secondary action, better known as sympathy strikes, was outlawed and picketing was restricted. Ballots were needed for official...
You know what, yeah, he's just getting into stuff about trade unions and all that stuff. So he's made the point about when the declining house building went down, what year it was, this, that and the other still. So let's get to the main event. Of course, what's up? Yo, yeah, man. So shout out, F Politics. You right, boss? You right, yeah? Shout out F Politics, yeah, on this thing out here, yeah. So F Politics, Femi was on Talk TV today with Alex Phillips. Go to Talk TV and watch the full video. Subscribe to Femi's channel, F Politics. Always has a solid take on what's going on in these fake parties that claim that they're for the working class, but every policy, every sort of thing that they champion benefits the 1%. Bad, it's crazy still, man. But yeah, but like, this is why the Reform Party knew that Brexit was going to hurt working class people, but they didn't care because they've got their own circle of people that they actually wanted it to benefit. and it is still benefiting them. You know what I'm saying? Like, so yeah, man, let it play, bruv.
Back to F politics. After what the Bank of England just said about Brexit, I had a debate with Alex Phillips, former member of the European Parliament under the Brexit Party, Nigel Farage's party, which you now know as Reform, but there's lots to learn from it. For example, the first tactic she tries is to imply that Remainers just want the country to fail, that we don't have empathy for the real people who are affected by politics.
The governor of the Bank of England has today said, warning that Brexit has damaged goods exports to the continent. You must be sitting here doing a fist pump saying, I told you so.
No, because some of us who said we shouldn't do Brexit were on the opinion that we should do whatever we can to protect working class people in this country. And Brexit has clearly hurt working class people in this country. That's been confirmed by every group, every sector of the UK economy, whether it's the Bank of England, the car industry, the fishing industry, the small business industry. Everyone's saying this has made our lives harder.
And like I said, I know how these...
Yeah, that's a fact, right? The man then was saying that Brexit's going to make working class people's lives harder, poorer people's lives harder, businesses, international businesses' lives harder. Everyone's wages drop, all trading drop. There's no flipping partners, trade partners that you've been able to replace with the biggest trading bloc that you trade with, the European Union, or any sort of other replacement for that. But still voted for it, innit? Smart motherfuckers.
These people operate. And so if I prove that Brexit has damaged the UK, I know they're going to try and move the debate elsewhere, which is why I take inspiration from a quote from Serenity.
If your quarry goes to ground, leave no ground to go to.
Translation, don't leave them anywhere to hide.
And before we get into the back and forth about me saying Brexit has damaged the country and you saying, oh, but it's not been done correctly.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the old tune.
Exactly. Let's actually look at what the whole getting Brexit done correctly would have meant. You were in the Brexit party, Nigel Farage and Richard Tice's party, and your policy was no deal Brexit,
okay,
which would have meant not having a deal with our closest neighbours. And there is no country on earth that doesn't have a trade deal with its closest neighbours, which means doing something that every successful economy on the planet has chosen specifically not to do.
We don't have a deal with them in services.
Yeah, that's what the people were saying. No deal Brexit, yeah. Remember, it was no deal Brexit and also milk and honey from day one. Don't let them forget that. The man them was talking about, Brexit's gonna be milk and honey from day one. You still ain't seen about, we ain't even got stale milk, we ain't even got cheese.
And yet that sector's going great guns. Gangbusters in the UK. The services industry is on fire. And there was no deal with the EU.
It's still been damaged by it. You're hearing with the financial services, the mayor of the City of London.
So it's going great guns. Been damaged.
It's been
yeah, you saw that stats on the That's it. Let me see if I can get that back up.
Leave no ground to go to.
Translation, don't leave them anywhere to hide.
And before we get into the back and forth about me saying Brexit has damaged the country and you saying, oh, but it's not been done correctly.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the old tune.
Exactly. Let's actually look at what the whole getting Brexit done correctly would have meant. You were in the Brexit party, Nigel Farage and Richard Tice's party, and your policy was no deal Brexit,
okay,
which would have meant not having a deal with our closest neighbours. And there is no country on earth that doesn't have a trade deal with its closest neighbours, which means doing something that every successful economy on the planet has chosen specifically not to do.
We don't have a deal with them in services, and yet that sector's going great guns. Gangbusters in the UK. The services industry is on fire, and there was no deal with the EU.
It's still been with the.
All right. So let me read that there. Okay. Brexit was a disaster. Brexit disaster cost London. Am I off mute? Yeah. Brexit disaster cost London 440,000 finance job. City chief says. By John O'Donnell, Eliza, Martinuzzi, and Andy Bruce on October 16th. So it's like only a month ago. Report was written. It's funny, man. Oh, man.
Financial services, the mayor of the City of London.
So it's going great guns. It's
Also, yeah, you see how she sidestepped the other one. The other main point was that every country or every trading partner has a good trading deal with their closest neighbor apart from the UK. That's Brexit, man. Man said give Brexit a chance, you know. These times here, the chance is supposed to be like once we voted and they say we're out, there's no trade agreements and blah, blah, blah. We're supposed to be having all these different people flocking to trade with the UK because it's so great here, right? They're going to get so much business and maybe they're going to be able to do all this, that and the other. But that's not what's happened. Not going to happen either.
got massive growth, but it's been damaged.
It's been it is possible to do better than we currently are. In fact, if you look around the country, lots of people are not feeling that things are great. There is a lot of room to improve. And even if it's doing well in the financial sector, so bankers doing well, doesn't really help the working class people on the ground. And it has been damaged. And going back to, like I said, in terms of doing Brexit properly, your policy was doing something that every successful economy on the planet has chosen specifically not to do. So that is by definition economic vandalism.
I don't think.
Now, because the whole narrative of Brexiteers like Nigel Farage, Richard Tice, Alex Phillips, is that there's some amazing Brexit out there, if only people just believed in it enough, because I pointed out that the way they said they would do Brexit would cause economic utter devastation, she actually tries to deny it.
I don't think it's fair to say that that was our policy. I think,
unfortunately for her, Twitter doesn't forget. So here's Nigel Farage, the leader of her No Deal is the...
Yo, so you can see that there, yeah? 2019, Farage, no deal is the best deal. You get me? New EU treaty. New EU treaty is my highest priority. So don't let these men try to finesse you in it, man. These men keep trying to tell you about the Brexit that they was asking for is not the Brexit that's happened. This is the Brexit that we're talking about right now, though. That is what's happened. This is no deal Brexit. We have no deal. What are you talking about? Right, this is exactly what you asked for.
Best deal. Here's the official Brexit Party account, which is now the Reform Party account, saying we don't need a deal with the EU.
Just so you can see that, yeah. Take time to let it marinate in it, yeah. Let me read it out for you, just in case you're gonna act like, the screen's too small and I can't share it. Yeah. So, why should we continue to tie ourselves to the EU deal? Is it? What's it? We need to leave the EU or whatever. I can't even read that bit because the screen's cut off there. Clean Brexit now. Any deal where still paying billions to the EU after the 31st of October is not Brexit. Remember? That's what Brexit was, cuz. But
let's just go for no deal, which they called clean break Brexit because they knew that no deal would sound insane to most people, which is why in the end she had to admit that that was her policy.
I don't think it's fair to say that that was our policy. I think the EU has its own agenda when it comes to leave without
your
a
policy
deal
was no
rather
deal
than a
Brexit.
punitive deal.
Your policy was no deal Brexit. Yes or no?
Yes.
Your policy was no deal Brexit.
Leave without a
so
deal.
making a
yes, to leave without a deal, exactly, and that's what we've left with now. No deal. This is the Brexit that he was asking for. Remember, there was champagne on the Brexit night, you know. Nah, it's just pain, no sham. You get me? Yeah? Ma.
Doing something that every successful economy on the planet has chosen not to do.
Which not only means that all the damage that Brexit has done is on her and people like her, it also means that if they were in charge, things would have been even worse. And so, having established that there was nowhere for her to run and that this Brexit was on her, I proceeded.
What we're talking about right now is how has Brexit affected the UK? And it has, according to every sector. The National Nuffield Trust said it's damaged the NHS, the National Federation of Fishing.
Wait, hold on. Hold on for me. You're going too fast. Yeah.
Like her, it also means that if they were in charge, things would have been even. Having established that there was nowhere for her to run and that this Brexit was on her, I proceeded.
What we're talking about right now is how has Brexit affected the UK? And it has, according to every sector. The National Nuffield Trust said it's damaged.
See that there? One sec. Brexit damaging NHS with staff and medicine shortages. Yeah, so that's damage number one.
Damage the NHS, the National Federation.
Alright, damage number two. Fishing industry. Is it on a loss of 300 million post-Brexit? Fishermen trades claims fishermen trades body. Yeah, so that's another loss.
The fishing associations said that it cost £300 million. The Small Business
Future PM must focus on EU trading relationship to fix Brexit damage, says Business Group. Again, Brexit damage, no benefit.
Federation, they've recently been saying to the Labour government, you need to fix this. It is hurting people, and it is because of a policy that you and people like Nigel Farage supported.
Can it actually be fixed?
Yes, that's it. It's because of the policies that you supported. Now that you keep trying to act like it's not a policy. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, what you doing, man? He's all right. This is your policy, man.
When the EU constantly want to throw more and more regulation at the situation, regulation which has stymied their ability to create any big industries or growth in the dot-com sector.
This regulation
They're lagging behind the rest of the world.
Now that right there is an argument that yes, Brexit has hurt us and it needs to be fixed, but joining the EU would make things even worse. So I pointed out why that doesn't make any sense.
This regulation argument doesn't make sense because by definition, Brexit means double regulation. It means that in order
I've been saying that from time. Me and Heathen used to argue about this, about the EU numbers. So the next one's, yeah, the EU numbers. So now there's going to be British trading standards and then the European Union trading standards. So there's going to be parts that's going to be not made for EU, not made for so-and-so market. You get me there? So that obviously puts more strain on the businesses, having to stick to different regulations for this customer, different regulations for that customer. Or before it was just the one EU customer and everyone is happy with the same sort of things. You get me, cuz?
to trade with the EU, we have to follow both the UK regulations and the EU regulations in order to cross that border.
But you would think that actually,
it means extra checks.
Shedding some of that red tape would be good for industry.
Which is why the Small Business Federation is
the country to fail, that we don't.
My bad. So the EU red tape got 17 billion off UK trade with EU in just 3 months of just 3 months. Watchdog fans. Come on, man. This is just always this only bad stuff happening. This is just only bad stuff happening. There's nothing positive about it. All bad. Bad.
Regulations and the EU regulations in order to cross that border.
But you would think that actually,
it means extra checks.
Shedding some of that red tape would be good for industry.
Which is why the Small Business Federation has said that the extra red tape of Brexit is the regulation that is strangling our businesses. So on every level, you have hurt this country. You, Nigel Farage, Richard Tice, you promised that it would help working class people, and what you have done has hurt them.
I don't think that's entirely true, because I've been spending most of the day talking to lorry drivers who are pretty pleased, actually, that their salaries could potentially be going up.
Okay, I don't know many lorry drivers or whatever, yeah, but I'm definitely sure that the lorry driver that was kept on jumping on LBC saying, listen, it's taken me God knows how long to get through custom checks now that we've left the EU, or once we leave the EU, and now that we've left the EU, and these the extra prices, or now we get pulled over and we've got to stay in lay-by for a day or whatever. Obviously, that's not helping, innit? produce is going rotten. No, it's all bad, isn't it?
As a result of not having competition from busting workers from other countries.
It hasn't kept pace with the cost of living, though, has it?
Well, no.
Hey, all right, we need the government. We need a government that will sort out the BS and make it what it was meant to be. But what was it meant to be? That's the whole point. This hard Brexit, what was it meant to be? This is what it is. Leave. Just leave the European Union. Now we're not part of the European Union. We don't trade with them no more. And it's harder to trade with them. What other parts was that? Like, this is it. You know what I'm saying? This is it, bro. Like, I don't know what part of Brexit was going to be good or whatever. Yeah, all the finessing side of it, yeah, was just bollocks because none of that's happened. You got to get a visa to go to Spain. What? Yeah, before, yeah, we only had to do like an ESTA card if you went to America. Now you got to do an ESTA card for Europe. You know that certain man with criminal records, yeah, they're not even going to be able to go Europe again. They're traveling game. What?
The problem here is actually we've got a shortage. No, we've got a shortage actually of lorry drivers as a result of actually having a whole glut of people coming in here who put them out to work now going back to their home countries.
And the staff shortage has only added to inflation.
Remember when the shortage of lorry drivers meant that Nando's didn't have any chicken and McDonald's didn't have any milkshake? Not have.
Yes, we trade with the EU, but the trade's harder. The trade is harder to make now. The trade comes with more tariffs. The trade costs more. Even for businesses outside of the EU to ship to import to the UK, it affects on their profits. Like, if they've got, all right, think about this then, yeah. If you got competition, yeah, you got one customer in one country, one customer in the next country. You can sell to this country and make more profit, or you can sell to that country and get less profit. Which country are you going to sell to?
Having enough staff does not make your economy better, it just makes things more expensive, which the Bank of England has confirmed.
The small firms are the ones that are most damaged because the cost of the paperwork and so forth is a barrier. It's not just small firms in the UK.
Yeah, that. You lot don't like this, right? You see, when I play these videos, it usually comes from voices of authority that know what they're talking about, or the people that are in the situations of the stuff that we're even arguing about, brother. Not just Nigel Farage or Tommy Robinson, because wait, paid.
UK who want to export, but it is also small firms in Europe who were suppliers and provided competition in the UK market. So there is an inflationary effect coming through the competition channel.
And then we get on to Donald Trump.
Do you think that there is business to be done with Donald Trump?
By comparison, when the EU tried to...
You know what's funny, isn't it? Like, the Brexiteers think Donald Trump's going to be the saviour of Brexit. What? Alright, let me give you my opinion now. Obviously, Donald Trump is America first, cuz. So if he can do a better deal with the EU than he can do with England, or if he can do his separate deal with England, it's not going to be the same deal with the EU. Do you get me? Mad.
negotiate with Donald Trump, they managed to get an agreement in writing that nothing in that agreement would damage our ability to nationalize or renationalize healthcare. So nationalized healthcare was protected if we were in the EU. Compared that with Donald Trump, who has said that in any trade deal he does, he will make sure that he addresses the imbalance and the freeloading whereby non-American health services are able to extract what he calls unfairly low prices from US drug makers. So his explicit aim is to make the NHS pay more for drugs so that Americans pay less. That's what he will be demanding of us. And if we go into negotiations with him, that's what's on the table, the NHS.
Right, and then Donald Trump likes doing a deal. He's very transactional. So what you turn around and say is that is beyond conscionability. We're not going to be doing that. And you actually work to reduce tariff barriers. They're our biggest trading partner.
And so he's going to benefit.
Yeah, so... All right, before Alex Phillips answers the questions, can anyone give me like 3 reasons why Donald Trump would accept the UK's terms and conditions over the UK having to accept Donald Trump's terms and conditions for trade deals? Huh? The meat and the drugs that they're allowed to sell in America is illegal in the UK. It's actually illegal in the UK. You know that? The McDonald's that they sell in America is illegal in the UK. Mad.
Trade deal is a negotiation.
And so you reckon Donald Trump is going to bend the knee to the UK and just do what we say? You know,
I think it's worth sitting down and having some sort of deal with America.
Now, unfortunately, she kept interrupting me, but what I was trying to say was that his whole thing is Mr. America first. So he's not going to put the UK healthcare system ahead of the American healthcare system.
They are our biggest trading partners.
No, let's be clear. We do 17.6% of our trade is with the US, 46.7% of our trade with the EU. Our biggest trading...
Yeah, we just dropped out of it, having an actual say in it, to being someone that's now going to have to bend the knee to it. It's mad. It don't even make sense. So, who thinks that? I don't know. Do you think that the UK are going to be able to take the knee to... Huh?
Partner is by far the EU. And
Hey, no, I meant to say, yeah, do you think Donald Trump's going to take the knee to the UK? Huh? Are you lot bigging up Trump? Trump said he's so brave, he's the savior, he stands up to everyone. Right. We hate Keir Starmer. So you hate your own prime minister, yeah, and you love the American one. Do you think that this American prime minister that you guys love so much is going to take the knee to Keir Starmer's trade deals? That's sinking, isn't it?
That's what you've damaged. So again, in terms of Mr. America...
I think it'd be fair to say. I think it would be fair to say that it's most countries in the world. You talk about people trading freely with their neighbours, which I totally agree with. If the EU stayed as a free trading bloc, I think...
Wait, what's the facts? What's the facts? Trump wants to impose tariffs on American medicine that's being sold to other countries, or any imports that's coming into the USA. So, what are you talking about? You know them tariffs that Trump's trying to impose, yeah? With the European Union, those tariffs weren't there. The biggest trading partner. You see the one that was 46%? Not the 17%, the 46%, the biggest trading partner, that one. Yeah? There was no tariffs. Freedom of movements. European Union standard, stamped. Yeah, as long as this meets so-and-so standard, this can be flown back and forth across the continent. But, yeah, man.
And then at the end of it, I was just having fun.
You've got to listen to the will of the people. You've got to uphold democracy. And if you look at every country...
You referred to Brexiteers this morning as a minority.
I think...
Show the stats for that. The USA is the biggest investor employer in the UK, and we're the biggest investor employer in the USA. Man, shut up, bro. Shut up, man. Hey, tell me where you got them stats from. I need to see them stats.
Brexiteers are the most persecuted minority in this country at this point. Single country.
This morning, you referred to Brexiteers as a minority. It's no longer the majority. You are the minority.
So actually, no, we won the majority in that referendum.
But not now.
I was using it in. You knew I was using it in sarcastic terms.
All the evidence shows that you are in the minority now. The demographic shift, all the people voting.
Yeah, man. Imagine the majority of Brexit voters want to rejoin the EU now. Funny, isn't it? Even you guys in the chat want to rejoin the EU. You just say this stuff just to do it, so you don't show that you've had to change your mind. Get it?
Leave, young people voting Remain. You are the minority now. So the will of the people is against Brexit.
See, we have an advantage here in the UK over countries like America or France or Germany or the Netherlands because we've already seen the agenda of these people play out. They argued to leave the EU for decades, claiming that that would be the salvation of working class people. And yet now everybody can see that it has hurt working class people. So there is nowhere to hide from.
And it's got massive growth.
Hey, sorry about that. I was supposed to pause. Yeah, bud. Alright, give me 1 sec, yeah. Japan is the largest foreign investor in the United States with 783 billion invested in the country. Canada is the second largest investor, 749 billion. Germany is the third with 657 billion. Yes, yeah, you was wrong, yeah, because it says Japan's the biggest investor in Europe. I mean, in America. Canada's the second, and Germany's the third. Yeah, and all the numbers were higher than the 663 billion. Yeah, so you was actually wrong. So actually, EU invests more in into America than the UK. Hey, did you actually Google your stats and read it out? Because it says the UK is the best FDI investor, like the foreign stocks investor. They're not the biggest employer or the biggest investor into the UK. They're the biggest investor in stocks. Yeah, man. So Google's your friend, bro. And you know it's got right now. It's got a new fact checker tool at the top. It's, it gives you the fact checked one, the .org or .gov website that you can check the numbers from. Alright, man. I'm out of it, man. I could love to do a show still, man. Like, paddle show with that, man. You know? Alright, say less, man.
Zulu! One day I went to Asda. I went to shoplifting. I'm a Nigerian soldier, ever eater who stole my visa. T-shirt wearer, super drinker, funky house raver. Pound the jam to the okra eater, the love rice cooker, pop tester. I know a couple of juju masters, chichi cruncher, shaki chewer. I use the bucket and container. Yeah, now my wave like an African sailor. Where material call me a tailor. No woman, no crack, she don't be whaler. Batman, please don't bust us and later. Yo, cause I used from Ethiopia. Big Batika with everything and feature. Fufu shanty dance back in Kenya. Make my money cause I'm Nigeria. I went to Lidl. I went to shoplifting Lidl. Then I got